Hey, what's up, Market Moose? Mike from the Moose on the Loose. Retirement Friday today. We are comparing ZWQT, versus XEQT. Last week, I did a quite popular episode. It's on YouTube as well. On YouTube, I think we reached like 4,000 views already. So really cool episode about can you use XEQT ETF at retirement and just basically just do the old XEQT and chill at retirement. And actually, it's totally feasible, but you need a cash reserve, right? And then one viewers on YouTube wrote that comment, and I thought was like very interesting. Would you mind comparing it with ZWQT? So it's the Global Enhanced Income ETF from BMO. So very similar to XEQT, but writing covered calls on it. And I thought, well, that's a very interesting topic to do. So first, XEQT, it is a ETF of ETFs, but the point is to be 100% invested in stocks, mostly in North America, but you have exposure to Europe, Asia, and emerging market as well. So you may argue it's not the best option, but it's super simple, it's fast, it's professionally managed, it's clean, it's cheap, it's diversified. So it ticked a lot of boxes if you don't want to take care of your money at retirement. You don't want to pay super high fees. I mean, it's 0.20% management fees there. So you could definitely have a combination of having a cash reserve, this account that covers between 8,000 to 9,000 stocks. Yes, you go see on BlackRock if you don't believe me. It's, I think right now, like at 8,500, but anyways, very, very well diversified, and it works. But then here's the thing. If you want to withdraw like 5% of your portfolio, this one pays slightly under 3%. It's like 2.83% yield at the moment. So you're a bit short, right? So how about you invest your money into an ETF that is almost like XEQT, so pretty much well diversified, all stocks benefiting from growth, but pays you above 5%. So you can withdraw your 5%, chill under the sun, and there you go. So that's kind of interesting. And this is what ZWQT offers, 5.8% yield. Very good. So let's take a deeper dive on this one and see if it would make sense to retire on ZWQT. So it's almost all in equity. So you have like 2% cash, 98% stocks, pretty much similar to XEQT here. 79% invested in North America. Small exposure to UK, the rest is in Europe. So it's really Europe and North America, including UK. Great. Well diversified into sector allocation. Not a problem there. Great product, great way to build it. Very similar in those regards to XEQT, and they're writing covered calls to, again, enhance the yield, which sounds to be quite appealing these days. And I get it. As I said, you invest $1 million, you withdraw for $50,000 a year, and you still have like a buffer of 0.8%. So it's kind of like the best investment in the world. So let's compare both ZWQT to XEQT. So in terms of strategy, very similar. Besides, XEQT is a little bit more diversified. So we have on the one side with ZW, the BMO ETF. I'm going to call it BMO ETF. It's going to be faster. The BMO ETF is investing 79% of its capital in North America. For XEQT, it's 69. So a little bit better diversification for XEQT, but not crazy either. The main difference is really in the strategy, because one is writing covered calls, the other one is just pure investment in equity stocks. The fees are super important. In this one, BMO charges 0.71, BlackRock is at 0.20. So there's a 0.5% difference. So if one, like with the same dollars, the same performance, if one is up 2%, the other one will be up 1.5. So super important to remember, 0.5% for the next 30 years of your retirement. That could mean a lot of money at the end of the road. So keep that in mind. In terms of yield, though, nothing comparable, right? BMO offers 5.8. The other one is offering 2.8. So 3% difference here. If you're looking to preserve your capital and just get the yield, you're going to be attracted by the BMO ETF. That totally makes sense. But as you know, Distribution is one thing, total return is another. Of course, we're not talking about a crazy yield here. It's probably sustainable in time. It's probably not going to crash and be super volatile as like those covered call ETF that you're using leverage and offering like 20, 30, 40, 50% yield. It's really reasonable. So I don't have any problem here, but we have to look at the total return to see really what's going on here. So total return as of August 31st on both websites that I went on for 1 year, BMO ETF is 9.87 versus, get ready, 19.70 for XEQT. So there's 10% difference. It's like double performance for XEQT versus BMO. It's only 1 year, doesn't really count, but we have to do whatever we have to do with what we have, right? I mean, the BMO ETF started in 23, so there's not much we can do. We can look at 2 years, so let's take a look at 2 years. 26% total return for BMO and 47.42 for XEQT. So again, the 1 year trend is also showing on the 2 year trend. So if you had invested $1 million 2 years ago, and then you look at the total return, the BMO ETF would be 1.26 million. So pretty cool. You're making money. That's great. Perfect. The other one would be 1.47. So the cost of investing in like an ETF providing you a yield would be $210,000 over 2 years. That's $100,000 you could have spent in like each year. That's kind of crazy. And I'm not saying that you could do that every year for the next 25 years, 30 years of your retirement. I'm just saying, like, those are the facts. Like, if I look at total return, so that's the stock price, the ETF price plus the distribution. One is at 1.26 million. The other one is at 1.47. That's $200,000 leaving on the table for the sake of receiving a yield. So I have a question for you to end this show. What if you were the one controlling the yield and controlling the distribution? Because if you invest in a covered call ETF or any income focused product, you let the financial firm decide what the yield you're going to receive. And then you're going to be happy with it, but you must live with that. You don't dictate this. And if you want to have a clear review of those income-focused products, I have a free guide that you can download at retirementloop.ca/income. It's retirementloop.ca/income. And I have the complete guide explaining you the pros and cons of all the income product. So instead, you could be the boss, determine how much you want to withdraw, and get that money into your bank account whenever you want. That only asks you to sell some units. But as we just saw, you either keep your unit and you receive like the money, but after 2 years, you're at 1.26. The other one is at 1.47. I mean, it's the same strategy. The only thing that really difference is the covered call that is like the covered call that is being written that limits the upside potential by definition, because when the stock goes up too high, well, then you have to sell at a lower price per the contract that you signed. And it increases the fees 0.50% every year that is being compounded throughout your retirement. So instead, you could just decide that you have your cash reserve, you sell your units, and then you're good to go. One other thing I want to highlight as well is, yes, it's great to have that 5.8% yield, but the distribution has not changed since inception. So it started in 23. BMO has not changed the distribution. So what's going to happen with inflation? I mean, if it continues this way, it's not going to be the same amount that you'll need in 15, 20 years from now. It's just going to be eroding every year because the distribution doesn't increase. So I don't really like that part as well. So in conclusion, it's not terrible. I mean, it is well diversified, well built. It's going to give you that yield, so you can retire on that. But it's not great either, in a sense that it is quite expensive to be convenient. And this is usually the case. It's not too good to be true. I think that the portfolio is well built, so it's going to continue to pay good distribution over time. But just for the sake of having a yield and not creating it, like just giving that power into the investment firm, you leave a lot of money on the table. Or on the other side, you pay a lot in fees and in costs of investment. So I would prefer to be in charge here and manage my portfolio and withdraw that money with a plan instead of leaving that to a covered call ETF firm telling me that I'm going to have a high yield, but forgetting about telling me how much money it's going to cost at the end of the road. So if you want to learn more about income-focused products, good sides, bad sides, how to understand them, if it's good for you or not in your investment strategy, you can go to retirementloop.ca/income to download my income product guide. So right, moves, that's enough for today. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk again on Monday. Until then, don't forget to stay invested.